In this video, we are going to talk about ALEKS. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this video, you already have or are about to sign up for ALEKS. You have your class code, which is highlighted, and your financial aid access code. This gives you a 2-week free access to your homework. So you're going to do that first, and then I'm going to do this video is going to be explaining what happens once you're registered for ALEKS. So once you're registered, you're going to see a screen like this. It's going to kind of go through just a tutorial on how to use ALEKS and how to enter information. Okay, so here's just telling you, how you're going to learn at your own pace, and understand the topics you already know. Okay, so you're going to be as soon as you learn something, you're going to have access to more information. You learn some more, you're going to have access to more, and so forth until you get to your final goal. Okay, here it's just going to give you an overview. Here's where your main menu is, and so forth, notifications, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to kind of just go through this briefly, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, you really need to go ahead and go through this tutorial. It's going to give you basic information on how to enter information and then undo information. Just go through the entire thing. I'm not going to go through the entire thing right now. I'm going to go ahead and skip because you're just going to follow the directions it gives you. It's going to give you additional information here as well, just drawing lines and so forth. Okay. Again, I'm going to skip this tutorial. You will need to complete it. Once you complete it, it's going to tell you congratulations, you've completed the tools tutorial. The very next thing that it's going to give you is an initial knowledge check. Okay, when you're doing this initial knowledge check, it's going to be really important that you give it the best try that you can. I do encourage you going back to your lessons tab here, and this is if you really want to understand the concepts. I would use, go to Unit 6. I'm going to keep this one in here, but it's going to be slightly different. This is going to be our comprehensive, let me see where it's at here. Hold on. Okay, it's not in this section yet. When you come in here, you're going to have access to your final reference sheet, and I'm going to put that in Unit 6. It should have already been there, but I will upload a final reference sheet here. So the final reference sheet is going to give you all the formulas and the things that you should know prior to or by the end of the class. You can use that information and your standard calculator. Okay, I wouldn't use any other software to help you solve these problems, just because I want to make sure that you know how to solve them. Okay, the better you do, the more information you're going to know, the less homework you're going to have. So don't use a website that will just give you the answer. That's going to be counterproductive. You're not going to be prepared for when it comes to your test. So give it the best shot you can. Don't just fly by it either if you really want to do good. Another thing you need to know is that occasionally when you're going through this homework, you will have additional knowledge checks. Those are random. That's not selected by me. Although I will try and limit how many knowledge checks you can get, because I want to make sure that, because we're testing so often, I really don't think we'll need that. So if I can limit it, I will try my hardest. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and do this knowledge check. It's about 30 questions. It's going to give you some information, how to stay focused, don't just get distracted, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and go through this real quick. There's 171 topics, I believe, that we're going to cover throughout this class. Okay, so it is a lot of information. They are going to ask you some major topics, which will cover multiple of those topics. So they'll ask you questions that cover multiple topics, and if you know that, then you probably know all the other minor topics that lead up to that one. So if you don't have a calculator, go ahead and use the one that appears in ALEKS. Otherwise, use a standard scientific calculator. You're not going to be using a graphing calculator or any other calculator like that. Make sure it's a standard scientific calculator. Part of your homework assignment or for your attendance, you're going to upload a picture of your calculator that you plan to use, and then I will either approve it or not approve it. Okay. If you don't know the answer, just put the I don't know button here at the bottom. But like I said, try not to do that for all of them, because that will be that will just say, okay, you're starting from scratch. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start the knowledge check. Just so you can kind of see the types of questions. So here is asking about geometric sequence. You may or may not remember this from college algebra, and it's okay if you don't remember it. I'm going to skip this because this will take about an hour. Like I said, it's about 30 questions. I'm going to skip the knowledge check, and I'm going to assume I have a moderate knowledge of pre-calculus. Okay, so you don't have that option, of course. I'm just doing it so that way you can see what happens when we get done. Once you finish your knowledge check, it's going to say, hey, all of the shaded parts that you see here are things that you already know. You may not know information in this part of the pie, but you do know all the information in yellow. The yellow, of course, is going to be the equations and inequalities. Okay, so it's giving you a breakdown of what you know and then what you don't know. So you know 24 out of 171 topics. That's only 14% of this class. So everything else we're going to cover in the class, but those 24 lessons you're not going to have to do homework on unless you take another knowledge check or test where it says, oh yeah, you don't know this concept. So it is possible to lose those pieces as you go throughout the course. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue here. All right, here is just going to tell you, okay, here's your personal pie. This is what you're going to need to do next when you get here, and then some more information. You have mastered 2, you've learned 0 because you already knew it, and you don't have any remaining. So then you can go ahead and continue. Okay, so that's basically what this is showing you, and then it's telling you what your goal is going to be for the next section. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go on. The homework is not set up to specific section due dates. I did unit due dates, which means you're going to have, for example, in Unit 1, you have 33 topics. We already know 15 of them. That means there's 18 topics that we still have to learn in this section. Okay, so all of the remaining topics that you need to know are going to be bundled into one homework assignment. Okay, so that's what we're working towards next. So I'm going to go through here again, and then now we're going to say, okay, well, let's get started. Let's go ahead and start the path. Okay, here's what your homework will look like for this first unit. Okay, it's going to randomly give you a section to work on or a topic to work on. You don't have to do the topic that it gives you. Sometimes that topic might be a little bit more advanced. If you push this little button down here, this down arrow, you can actually scroll through the remaining 18 topics in this homework assignment. Okay, so all of these are going to be what is remaining. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to show you something. Okay. Up here, you will see the name coterminal angles. This is saying it's a goal topic. Some of your homework is going to have prerequisite topics. In other words, there's going to be information that you need to know in order to do that section. You have to have prior knowledge on. If you don't get that prior knowledge, you're going to have a section where it will tell you, hey, you need to know how to do this first before you can master this next concept. So even though it says 33 topics, you actually you're only going to have 33 that are goal topics, but there might be more. There might be 34 topics in there, one of them being a prerequisite. And that's just an example. Some of them have more than one prerequisite. Okay. As you go through, you can see all the different names of your work, the topic that you're going to be covering. Now, if you notice on this one here, it's a little locked key. That means you can't work on this until some of those other ones that are unlocked are already available to you. Another thing I'm going to show you, here's the Unit 1. So let's say let's say you decide to cover 4.1 today. These are the 9 topics that you want to start your homework with. So if I go to my homework here, I can scroll over and I can say, okay, this first one here is coterminal angles. Is coterminal angles in my topic? Yes, it is. So this coterminal angles means that you learn this topic under the 4.1 video and lecture notes. So this is one that you want to do. I can continue to go through it and say, okay, what about this? Reference angles. I'm going to go through and say reference angles. Reference angles is not listed under the 4.1 topic, so it's not one that you want to work on if you've only heard 4.1. I can go through and find where reference angle is discussed. So I'm going to just go through real quick and I'm going to look for reference angles. Reference angles are referred to in section 4.4. So I don't want to cover this information. I don't want to start this particular homework until I've covered 4.4. So if you want to avoid a problem like this, what you could do is you could, and it's going to be your choice. You can watch all the videos in the Unit 1 section, and then you'll be able to look and see, hey, where is this topic back? And I can come and say, okay, this topic's in 4.4. Go back to that video, watch it to help you understand how to solve the problems. One of the things about ALEKS and the way that I do it is ALEKS has to be a lot more specific and a lot more detailed in the way it's explaining something because it's all by words. So sometimes in some homework topics, it's going to be harder to learn it from ALEKS. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, let's go back over here and continue. Okay, so here's all your homework. Once your homework in all of this section is complete, it will continue. Okay, once your homework is complete in this entire unit, then you can go on to, it will automatically open up the next section of homework. Okay, all right, let me go ahead and continue over here. Okay, here's all of your homework topics that you need to know. Here it's saying, hey, in this section you're having this much. All right, so let's go ahead and go to those 3 lines up here. Okay, let's say you finish your Unit 1 homework and you're ready to review for your first exam. You're going to come over here to the side and you're going to go ahead and click on review. Now, when you do this, it's going to pull up all of the topics that you've already learned. So in this case, we've already learned, it was 24 topics, I believe, was all together. Let's find out real quick. Yeah, you know 24 topics, but these topics are from different units. So how do we go ahead and change it so I can only look at the topics that I need to review for Unit 1? If you click on this part where it says review, push a little down arrow, you can filter. Here it's telling you you're ready to review 15 topics in Unit 1. You're ready to review 4 in Unit 2 and 3. In Unit 3, you have 4 topics you've also completed. So I'm going to hit Unit 1, and here are the 15 topics that you already have learned and that you can go ahead and review. This is going to be great for when you're doing your homework, studying for your exams, because your exams will come exactly from your homework problems. Okay, so that's how you get to navigate through that. All right, when you're doing your assignments or when you're doing your test, you're going to go to your assignment tab. When you click on your assignment tab, it's going to go ahead and you can view upcoming. It's going to go ahead and list all of your exams here. The very first one that you're going to see is going to be your mock exam. Okay, it does say an hour and a half. It's not going to take you an hour and a half, but I do want you to go through the process. I want to make sure that that you have to set up the technology that you need. You need a camera. You need a mic. You're going to take a 360 view of your desktop. You're going to show the front and back of any formula sheets that you're using. You're just going to go through the process and showing your calculator, go through the process of taking a test to make sure everything's set up and know what to expect, okay? Once you do take your exam, you're going to go back to your assignments. Underneath the assignment says exam scratch work. That's where you're going to submit your scratch work paper because I do grade using partial credit, okay? So you're going to go to the correct And I have these opening on the day that it starts, so you can go to Unit 1 and you're going to submit your scratch paper there. If you don't have your scratch work submitted, then I'm not going to take that into account. And whatever you got on ALEKS is what you'll in the grade book for Blackboard. Okay, so please submit your scratch work as soon as possible. All right, let's go back here. Let me see what else we have. If you go down to worksheets, you do not need to submit these. Sometimes I have students who will download them, work them, and submit them to me. That's not necessary. I don't know how to turn that option off. Okay. Your grade book, that will give you everything else that you need. And then, of course, you have your textbooks and other video information, I believe, is somewhere here as well. Okay. So that was essentially a very quick overview on how to use ALEKS. If you have any questions, please let me know. If I think of anything else that I didn't cover in this video, I will just make a note of it. But I think I got everything covered. The only other thing I want to say about it is, like I said before, you cannot move on to the next lesson or the next homework or the next unit until you've completed the current unit. Then it'll open up the next unit. If you don't complete the homework for that unit, you're going to have to wait until the due date of that unit before you get access to the second or the very next unit assignments. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's essentially work at your own pace. So if you feel confident that you're ready for the next topics, finish the current one, then it'll open up the next one. All right. Let me know if you have any other questions.